Welcome everyone to the Squared Circle Jerks podcast. We are reviewing.
I'm Pearl Harboring your intro.
You are Pearl Harboring me, you bastard. Who do you think you are, Kanemaru?
I'm a Tongan.
Oh, a Tongan. That's even worse. All right, we are reviewing Strong Style Evolved New Japan Wrestling Show. This is their North American second ever show, following the G1 special. And with me, as always, is my heterosexual life mate, Byron.
Hi.
So, before we get off, I'm just gonna lay down three gripes I had about the show, just kind of in general. The audio production was not good, and the camera work was at times not very good. And JR and Barnett are an infinitely inferior team to Callis and Kelly.
That is correct.
So we'll get that out of the way, so I don't bring it up during any of the matches. Would you like to make a similar disclaimer?
Not really. Obviously Callis and Kelly are like the best commentary team in the business. End of story. One thing I would like to say is apparently people were giving JR shit about not being able to say Marty Skrull correctly. Dude's got Bell's palsy. Lay the fuck off.
Yeah, I'm largely willing to let him have, largely any pronunciation errors he wishes.
Correct. Other than that, no, as a general broad stroke statement about the show, it was good, but it wasn't as good as I was expecting. However, the main event paid off in a big way. So, that's sort of the broad strokes of the entire evening.
Yep, kind of in the same boat there. Didn't feel as amped about it as like a Wrestle Kingdom or even like a G1 final or
Sakura Genesis coming up next week.
Yeah, even like Sakura Genesis. But it was quality. It had some really good stuff. We'll get into what was like really good later on, but let's roll into this. We open up with SoCal Uncensored, which is Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky taking on Roppongi 3K. Rocky Romero Wrestling is their third man as a 66-man tag. I enjoyed JR and Barnett talking about tempura. That was intriguing.
Never turn it down.
And the only thing I really have to say about the match, other than Roppongi going over, was Kaz seemed to injure himself on a bit of a rope botch, which was maybe a sign of a little bit of age.
Yeah, he went for, I believe it was supposed to be like a springboard splash or something like that, or maybe a springboard turning leg drop, or I don't know what the fuck it was going to be. But it ended up being one of his leg, I think it was his left leg, gave out as he sprung onto the ropes, which then he just kind of fell on his ass. And then he got up and actually did like a splash/elbow drop instead. It was strange. But like Barnett said, shit happens, man.
Yeah, he worked through it pretty well, actually. Kept doing some stuff. Kept himself limited, so he didn't really, botch anything else. So credit to Kaz for recovering. The interesting thing is I actually thought maybe Sho was injured heading into the match because he did largely nothing. Like Rocky and Yo did almost all the work.
Yeah, it was kind of... I guess you save a guy for the hot tag at the end, but they saved him almost exclusively to that.
It wasn't much of a hot tag either.
Yeah, no, it was very strange. I just don't think that SoCal Uncensored really had any momentum coming into this. They didn't seem to get much of a reaction at all, which is weird for Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, which is sad because I like all three of them. They're good veterans of the California scene. They've been around for ages and doing some really good stuff. Kazarian and Daniels are fantastic workers, and Scorpio Sky is very solid. So, yeah, the crowd reaction to this match did disappoint me.
Yeah, I think it could have been, if they would have had them on a couple of New Japan shows to kind of work with Roppongi 3K ahead of time, this would have been a much better match. But, I mean, you could say that about almost every match that ever happens, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Then we go on to Juice Robinson and David Finlay versus Hiroki Goto and Gato. And this was better. I enjoyed it. Not a lot of spots to really talk about particularly.
No, not really. Juice Robinson came out dressed like Jesse the Body Ventura. Well, kind of a combination between Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Jesse the Body Ventura. Like, the pants were very Beefcake, but everything else was very Ventura. It was, and with a very bright color scheme to them. So that was
the Body Ventura.
And Juice is over like a house of fire, man. Juice over very much so.
Indeed, super over. Finley pins Gato with a stunner. I guess the only thing really to note is that Goto got busted up real kind of early in the mouth area.
Yeah, so. Something happened, something went wacky, and he may have eaten a potato.
Yeah. I enjoyed Gato's comedy work with both of his opponents in this one, because it's Gato. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Gato is awesome, especially when you can't see his eyes.
But not a match I'd really recommend you go out of your way to per se see. Like, I'd say watch this show, but this is the match where you can kind of just coast through a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't totally disagree. I would still watch it.
Yeah. Then the show picked up, though. We had Killer Elite Squad versus Toru Yano and Chucky T.
Yeah, I was, I believe, taking a pee break during... I didn't think this intro was going to happen so quickly, and then I hear my headphones... I hear this, like, all the way down the hall. I'm like, oh, shit's happening. What's going on? And I come back, and Killer Elite Squad has, I believe, Lance ran out of water and snatched a fan's water bottle and started spitting on people. Is that what happened?
That was what happened. He went out in the crowd. A couple of guys ditched out of their chair, and when he got done with his third water bottle, he's like, oh, there's another water bottle on the floor here.
And then my boy Yano comes out and is over like you wouldn't believe. Chucky T didn't get as big a pop as I thought he was going to. Chucky T, like PWG mainstay, would have thought he would have got a bigger reaction.
He got a pretty big reaction. It's just he was overshadowed by Yano, and
Well, yeah, everybody was.
Yeah. Yeah, Yano over as hell in the United States of America, apparently.
Spontaneous Yano chant. Awesomeness. It was great. I enjoyed a great deal of this.
The match played to everyone's strengths in this. Archer and Bulldog got to be, monsters, like they are.
Yep.
And got to work some people over a lot.
Yano had his life threatened.
Yeah, and Archer does good comedy with Yano, so I would enjoy more of this.
I would like a feud or tag team to come out. If he could be like the third part of if he did some sort of, he would not fit in with Suzuki-gun at all. So that would be weird. But I would definitely love to see some sort of like a pick your poison type scenario where he somehow is the third man on a 6-man squad with Killer Elite Squad. That would be entertaining as fuck.
Yeah. Just some fantastically good stuff. Chucky T did good work as well. In the end, Killer Elite Squad go over with Killer Bomb. Because, this is a tag team versus a non-tag team.
Yeah.
KES has got to go over. And then things got interesting from a story standpoint. That was kind of the pickup in the action and the entertainment value. This is where the story started to be told. And that was Cody Rhodes and Marty Scurll versus GOD.
Cody getting all the boos, Scurll getting all the cheers. It was fantastic. They had a boo-yay competition for a while. Cody grabbed a mic, and they gave him the champa, where they booed the shit out of him every time it went near his mouth. And finally, he's going to go to speak, and the mic doesn't work.
And anytime he would like kind of move the mic towards Scurll, it's like, yeah!
It was fantastic.
Interesting deal here. Continuing the Bullet Club storyline. Cody doesn't want to do the match, and the whole time he's giving this spiel about how Bullet Club is good, and he's like kind of putting God over. Tama Tonga with the most skeptical look I've ever seen on a man's face.
Skeptical Tongan is skeptical.
This is as if to say, "What the hell are you doing?" And eventually, Tonga Loa grabs the mic and just says, basically, fuck that. We are having this match. These people paid to see this match.
Correct.
We're going to give it to them. And, interesting enough, Cody and Scurll went over here. I was kind of expecting the Gorillas to take it.
I don't remember exactly how the finish happened, but wasn't Cody just being a dastardly retard?
Pretty much. He would do, like, things where he was, like, just avoiding things, and My personal favorite moment was he was on the outside with Brandy Rhodes, like recovering, and the gorillas are looking at him, and Skrull just kicks both of them in the head, and then comes outside and gets a kiss from Cody. It was pretty good. Marty Skrull's amazing.
Highly enjoyable. I hear he may or may not be from northern France.
That's possible. And I don't actually remember the finish to the match, to be honest.
I don't remember either. I think, well, wait a minute. Didn't Tama Tonga hit the crossroads on Cody at one point?
At one point, yes.
Yeah.
And the announcer said something like a crossroads. I'm like, it is a crossroads.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think Cody returned the favor and hit some sort of Tongan finisher on Tama Tonga, but I could be wrong. I don't remember either.
But yeah, pretty good, pretty fun match. Good pace to it. Not a lot of like tremendously memorable spots, but good storytelling with the whole everything that's going on with Bullet Club and where do the Tongans stand?
Yeah, they definitively said that they are not on Team Cody. So yes. I don't know if that means no, there is no Team Cody. This is Bullet Club only. Or if the Tongans are having their own faction thing, presumably with Chase Owens involved.
Well, I mean, between the three Tongans, Bad Luck Fale, Owens, and Tokyo Pimp, that is half the Bullet Club.
Yep.
So that would be that. Not knowing where they stand means a lot between the Kenny and the Cody thing. So we'll find out eventually. Then we had an 8-man tag, LIJ minus the Injured Evil versus Tanahashi, Kushida, Taguchi, and Dragon Lee.
Correct. Now, they do have Evil listed for Sakura Genesis this coming weekend, so I'm assuming that however injured he is, it's not that bad.
Not tremendously serious. MVP of this match was Dragon Lee. He didn't actually necessarily do a lot, but what he did was fantastic. The chop exchange between him and Time Bomb was freaking fantastic.
There was a lot of chops. At one point, I literally had to ask, "Are you following me, camera guy?" Because there's a lot of chopping going on there.
Yeah, oh boy. I enjoyed the triple sub spot. That was really good. We see a lot of the double sub spot, but that's not enough for New Japan. We had Taguchi had a ankle locked on. Ace had a cloverleaf locked on, and Kushida was working the hoverboard lock simultaneously. And Time Bomb comes in and kicks all three of them and goes just to break up the sub holds.
Highly enjoyable. There's I was a little sad that we didn't have more Taguchi being a little bit wackier, but then again, you can't have that every day. But that was about it. Yeah, it was good times. I enjoyed it. LIJ is over as fuck. Naito in particular. And I was gonna say oddly enough, Sonata more than anyone else, but that shouldn't be too surprising.
Sonata is pretty freaking fantastic.
Yeah. The weird thing is that Bushi didn't seem to be over with anybody there. It was kind of strange.
Well, he didn't really get any chances to really show how over he was because he came out with Time Bomb Sonata and Naito true. More or less got their own entrances, and Time Bomb came out with Bushi, the two juniors, and it seemed like, at least from the match, that the big, and they did get a big reaction when they came out, but it did seem during the match that most of that was for Time Bomb.
Yeah, I would agree. There was even somebody in the crowd with a Daryl.
There were a couple of Daryls in the crowd, actually, that I saw throughout the course of the night.
Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
And, yeah, fantastic stuff. Bushi, of course, got his gimmick in, the shirt.
Yeah.
And, yeah, fantastic match. And the finish was really good, not in the sense of, almost from a comedic standpoint. Naito hit, like, the most emphatic roll-up on Taguchi I've ever seen, like off the ropes, rolling you up, that failed, and then he just hit Destino as if to say, oh wait, I was technically supposed to do this. Bam!
I'm just messing with you, here it is, but
and he pins Taguchi, which makes sense. Taguchi is the guy who can eat the pin in that group. Then we had Rey Mysterio come out to apologize to the crowd because he is, of course, injured and unable to do his match with Yushin Thunder Liger. We were talking about this, so we'll throw it out to the crowd. we Ray and Liger are pretty much the two best cruiserweight wrestlers, light heavyweight wrestlers, whatever you want to call it, in history. Who is your number 3?
Yeah, I can't even conceive. Like, you brought up Dean Malenko, not to give the game away, but he'd be the only other person I can think of. I can't think of anybody else that's had any kind of impact like that. You could throw Jericho in there at one point in his career.
You had
Chris
brought up,
Benoit.
of course, he who shall not be named, Chris Benoit.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot for, say, the cruiserweight in terms of you looked it up, and I think he only ever held one cruiserweight or junior heavyweight or whatever the fuck title.
One major one, which was the IWGP.
But in terms of smaller in stature guys getting over and doing really big time in the business, it's him and Eddie Guerrero, and then the aforementioned two that we were talking about here, Liger and Ray. Other than that, I mean, Malenko didn't have a very long career in terms of popularity, and really, when Eddie Guerrero got big, he also got big. Like, he got, much bigger.
Got swole.
Yeah. Adam Swole, baby.
I also threw Billy Kidman in there as an option.
Yeah, Billy Kidman, I do enjoy the Billy Kidman, especially when he was doing things with the Ravens flock and things like that. And he beat Hogan twice, so.
Also enjoyed his stuff with the Filthy Animals.
Correct. Which also involved Raymondo, indeed.
Also involved Eddie Guerrero. So there you go.
Yeah. So the match between Ospreay and Liger was damn good.
This was dope.
Damn good stuff.
Made better by the fact that Mysterio was in the crowd. Like, instead of going to the back, no. He just went and sat next to a guy in the crowd.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, they should have been on it, and the guy was in shock. He's like, I'm sitting next. I paid money, and he's gonna sit here. Oh my god! And then, he had to shake a couple of hands, but I think the majority of people left him alone while the match was on.
Either effed up his knee or was selling his knee for a good portion of the match. I'm hoping it was selling.
Yeah.
But the landing that Tweet did look kind of legit, so we'll see. And Ospreay getting a little bit of heat when he goes for a 619 and does not connect. Your call could not be completed as dialed.
Yeah. After Ospreay had pinned the Liger, Ospreay got on the mic and said, "Hey Ray, why don't you and I, when you get better, you and me, how about it?" And then they were ambushed.
Also, just the other spot I want to talk about is, man, Ospreay sold the Shotay with panache. Yeah. Like a complete cartwheel flip. Indeed,
it was great, fantastic. So I don't know what's going on with that title, but it's going to be Skrull versus Ospreay again, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, there are 3 certain things in life: death, taxes. Skrull beats Ospreay, so
maybe
that's probably where we're going with this. Yeah, he assaulted him. He hit him with the umbrella, and he broke the umbrella in half. Pretty fucking great. And he even ended up taking Ray's mask off real easily too. And
that was weird. All the spots they do with all the masks in the world, and that Ray's just comes right off. I don't know about that.
Yeah, so the WWE mask, man, it's not as good as the proper ones.
It's just lower quality.
Indeed, but yeah, this was a fantastic match. Go to your way to see it. And then we had Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki versus Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada. I thought there were some very good things in this match, some very good grappling exchanges. I also enjoyed Ishii and Suzuki trying to out-psycho each other.
Yeah.
Freaking great. And Sabre eventually made Ishii pass out to get the win. And they attacked the ref afterwards and started working him over too. You had an interesting observation about Zack Sabre Jr. during this match or after the match.
Well, it's just sort of my whole attitude towards Zack Sabre Jr. in general, which...
You mean Zack Ospreay Jr.?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I always mistake him for Ospreay. I have zero clue why. Yes, they're both English, and yes, they're both thin, and other than that, there's no fucking similarity. So it's been sort of just my attitude towards Saber his entire career is like he's obviously incredibly talented, and it's obvious that he's excellent in the ring, but he's boring. His style just stops matches from happening. He goes into like a 5-minute armbar spot. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude! It's this style would have been great 20 years ago, maybe even only 15 or 10 years ago, but not now. Now it's the future. We all have the internet. Even people who don't watch MMA have seen a bunch of MMA. We all know what arm bars do. We all know what Kimuras do. We all know all of that stuff. All of us. And if I watch Zack Sabre Jr. put a double wrist lock on anybody and hold it there for 2 minutes, I assume that his opponent now needs 5 or 6 major reconstructive surgeries to repair that shoulder, because that's what those moves are designed to do. That move is designed to ruin your shoulder if you don't give up. And I mean ruin. If you want to ask some questions, go ask Big Nog. It's not it's not a thing you can just kind of like. If you had a choke on, you can kind of fake your way through it. You can hand fight, which they don't seem to do in wrestling for some dumb.
Yeah, again, I would like to see that more in New Japan.
This is the future. We live in the future. We all have the internet. We all know how chokes work. We all know that 2-on-1 defense is the way to go. So it's just things would happen in this match in particular. Like you were saying, Suzuki and Ishii would go toe-to-toe, ham-fisted, crazy brutality. Okada would occasionally show up, well, a lot less than, or maybe I should rewatch the match, but I don't remember Okada being in the ring for very much of the match at all.
Not a ton, and a lot of when he was in the ring was selling.
Yeah, and I mean, he got to hit one drop kick. Nobody even came close to a Rainmaker. It was just kind of, I think it was just badly booked in general. And I think they just wanted Ishii and Suzuki to have they should have just had Ishii and Suzuki to have a singles match. Give your friggin' champions the night off.
I think to a degree, part of the Sabre Jr. problem is commentary related. Because I don't, like, sometimes they get into this, like, Sabre Jr.'s, like, Suzuki's rubbing off on him. He's a bit of a sociopath, but, sadist. He's just interested in hurting you. And that would work with the whole taking really long times to apply holds and maybe not cranking on them enough to, like, break the shoulder, but just, wanting to put you in pain. But they don't do that a lot.
No.
And I include, like, not just, like, the JR Barnett combo, but I include Callis and Kelly in this particular regard as well, as they don't necessarily emphasize that part.
Out of all 4 of those people, Barnett should be the one telling us this. Barnett's the expert. Barnett's the fighter, multiple world champion times a million. He's the guy that should be like, listen, here's what this technique does, and look at how he's doing it, and he's not putting full power into it, and it's causing this amount of pain. He should be easily able to explain that to anybody. Yeah. And I don't think anybody even considers, like, I don't think anybody really knows that we're living in 2018. We all know how these things work.
The other option, I think, would be to be a more transitional flow-based grappling from Sabre, like just changing up. Like okay, I'm going to torque on the arm, now I'm going to go to the leg, now I'm going to go to the other leg, now I'm going to go to the arm, like kind of work everything, which he sometimes does. Mm-hmm. He does like multiple limb locks, which admittedly wouldn't have the power to necessarily submit you, just put you in immense amounts of pain. But, there are times where it's like you've been in this same octopus armbar for like a solid 75 seconds.
Yeah, and then he'll transition to something else that's designed to ruin a joint or destroy ligaments or whatever, and then just kind of sit there with it. It's like, dude, this is not a glass of cognac. This is a wrestling match. And I appreciate your skill. I appreciate your ability to transition from these holds to other holds. I appreciate all of that. But what I would like to have happen is an actual match. I mean, I do like competitive grappling, EBI particularly and specifically. But if you want to have a great nap, go watch the Mundials for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It is the best nap you'll ever have.
Especially the heavyweight.
Yeah. Nobody's really trying to beat anybody. Everybody's just like, I got to take down, going to get 2 points and coast on through. And then they sit there for 30 minutes. Zack Sabre Jr. is not that, but it's leaning that way. And he needs to, in my opinion, he needs to add something to just add some pizzazz, add some dynamism, add some friggin' personality. Because if you're trying to sit there and tell me that he's a sociopath, well, they tried to do that with Randy Orton, and he's been boring for 17 years. So
that's because there's nothing sociopathic about Randy Orton outside of, like, he's just an ass.
I can't tell. Is he being menacing, or did he just wake up from a nap?
There's a little bit of both. He just woke up from a nap and is trying to be menacing.
So that's sort of like, if I know Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be in a match, I know exactly what it's going to be about. I mean, at least there's that, but it doesn't make me want to watch the match.
Yeah, I'm a little more positive, but yeah, I definitely feel where you're coming from on the matter and sympathize, agree with a lot of it.
It's to the point, and my last kind of thing is, it's to the point where if I see him go for a hold, I'm just going to take a pee break if I need to, because he'll be there when I come back.
New Japan announced that they're going to the Cow Palace for the next show in the United States, and we figured that's, 17,000 fans? Because it's supposed to be like 15,400 for a concert. You could probably do a little bit more than that for a wrestling show.
Yeah, because, you generally with a concert, they're closing off like half or not half, but they're closing off part of the arena. So with the way New Japan books things, they don't do the big stage set that the Wobbly Wobbly Bee does. They just link off a walkway, and you come from the back out to the front or into the middle. So I mean, that's a lot of seats.
Yep. And then we had our only title match of the night: U.S. Champion Switchblade Jay White versus Adam the Hangman Page.
Correct. This was shitloads better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this was. We were talking about this when we were watching it, that this was the shit or get off the pot match to a degree.
Yeah.
We both have had somewhat interesting relationships with both of these men in terms of our fandom. I was very big into Jay White before the Switchblade character, and then, to be honest, I kind of fell down into mediocre lukewarmness with him during the Switchblade character, because he had good matches with Omega and Tanahashi, but you're having good matches with two of the best workers in the world. To me, it's underwhelming for a guy who's kind of becoming a bit of a star of the future. And of course, as you aptly put it the other night, I hated Hangman Page.
It was awesome. I remember the first time, I didn't know who he was. And I believe he was in they were in a storyline with the Briscoes.
It was the Briscoes versus him and the Pimp.
Right. And the Briscoes come out, and everybody reaches for the Sky Boys, pow pow. And I remember Takahashi comes out, and I hadn't seen him before either. And I don't believe he had any ladies with him.
Oh, he took Lucina.
No, I don't think so. Not at that time. And then Hangman Page comes out, and all I can hear is, fuck that guy, fuck Hangman, fucking Page. He wasn't, that... He didn't say fuck that many times, but it was just like, fucking hate that guy. And I was like, what? Why? What's the problem? I don't even know who this guy is. But apparently you'd seen him in some stuff, and I just didn't have any opinion on him whatsoever. And from what I could see, he's just a rookie that's coming along. He's okay. What's your problem? But it's definitely turned around. I would say mainly due to the
outside of making fun of his shooting star press.
Yeah, that's fun too. But the being the elite stuff has really brought him out of himself and able to do more character work. I always thought the fucking noose around his neck coming out gimmick was kind of cool. I just don't know why he doesn't use it in the ring. And it's coming along. Shooting Star Press is coming along. He's able to make at least 2 feet of horizontal distance, which is a good start. Although I think the one that he did that was a running start. So,
the bit of the shitter get off the pot match, and these guys delivered. I will say this match did feel a tad on the dangerous side, like that they were going for some things that they didn't really have the technical proficiency to pull off.
Yeah, but it was fun watching it.
It was fun watching it. So a couple of good highlights. We got a Muda lock from Jay White. That's pretty cool. There were a couple of apron spots just for both guys that were a bit scary. I think probably the worst one was the first one where Page did. It was kind of like a back body drop almost type of thing so Jay White went like face first into the apron.
Yeah. What match was it? Somebody went for the cattle mutilation. I don't remember. Was it this one or was it the Zack Sabre Jr.?
It was this one.
Oh yeah, because Jay White did it.
Yeah.
All right, marked out for that. Cattle mutilation. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. We also had, we did have 2 of the coolest deadlift suplexes I think I've seen in a long time. It was a ball and chain deadlift suplex from Hangman Page. Freaking great. Like, he just absolutely torquing it up there and getting good clearance on it. And Switchblade returned the favor with a pretty nice pendulum deadlift suplex as well. So, credit to 2 guys who are not that big showing some freaking power. Jesus.
Yeah, I was very impressed. Very nice.
There was also, there was an STO on the apron as well.
Oh, yeah.
I have written here, your receipt, sir.
Correct.
And then Jay White Germaned him off the apron, and I'm like, oh, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, it's not awesome.
That was perhaps an example of the, oh god, that just looked dangerous.
It was pretty awesome to watch, but probably not awesome to take.
Yep. Swinging avalanche neckbreaker from Page on White. So that was pretty cool. They called it a cutter, but I went with the swinging neckbreaker.
Yeah, I was saying, as it's happening, I could see it coming. I'm like, oh, swinging neckbreaker avalanche, ah! And then they're like, it's a cutter. I'm like, nah, it's not accurate.
Really?
I mean, maybe.
Really not. We had all kinds of backdrop drivers from Switchblade, which you were not marking up for nearly as hard as you usually do.
Well, I just wasn't expecting it.
And he even did a backdrop driver on Page to get him to the outside of the ropes, which was pretty impressive.
Well, what I was enjoying was the fact that he went for it one time, and you could see it in his fit. You could see him kind of express, like, "Oh, that worked really well. Let's do it again. Wow! Oh, that worked really well too. Let's try it again." And then Page kind of countered it, and it was I enjoyed that, and it was good.
There was a portion of the match where I thought Jay White might be slightly concussed and out of it. So,
yeah,
that kind of goes with the whole dangerous thing again. And we did have our first, really, New Japan style false finish. And if you've been watching us for a while, you know that's my thing where it's that's a false finish. That probably should have finished the match. Maybe shouldn't have been so false, but it was Page hitting a big power bomb and then a pile driver right after for Jay White.
Oh yeah.
That was... It wasn't too bad. But it was a bit of a New Japan false finish.
Don't sell this, motherfucker.
And as we said, we had the slightly improved shooting star press from Page to the outside, which wound up being more of a shoulder block.
Yeah.
And he also had a moonsault as well to the outside, so that's a good one.
And then we had a bit of a running start off the apron, and then he had some extra vertical because Jay White was on the floor. So he actually got some travel out of it instead of just jumping and doing a flip and landing straight back down on his face.
And then we also had Hangman get a bit of a New Japan style finish where he ate a half Nelson suplex and a Kiwi crusher and just kicked out like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And the ending finally did come when Page hits a big super kick and a discus lariat to knock Switchblade loopy, and then he goes for the rites of passage, but he gets reversed into a Blade Runner, and Jay White retains.
Yeah, I enjoyed the quickness with the transition on that finish. It was good. really sells the fact that like this can really happen at any time, and I just was waiting for this moment.
Yeah, I enjoyed the action of this match. Storytelling for both men could still use work, but they're young, they're developing, they're learning. So I'm not going to be too harsh on it. Maybe take about 5 to 10% off though, just so you don't kill each other.
I mean, I was fine with it.
And then after the match, Finlay comes out and spears Jay White and challenges him. Says, "I'm never done with you."
Yeah, I wasn't aware that they had a feud before this. So
they had been tag team partners before, and then had a feud. Yeah,
I was not aware of any of that. Every time I see Finlay, he's always with Taguchi or with Juice.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, well they were in the dojo at the same time, so it's one of those dojo feud type deals. Then we had the main event of the evening, the Golden Lovers versus the Young Bucks, and this was great.
This was fantastic.
Just great.
I'm looking at the timestamp here on the Wrestling Database. It's apparently 37 minutes and 30 seconds. This did not feel that long.
No,
not even a little bit. As a matter of fact, I legitimately thought the Jay White Hangman Page match was longer than the main event. And it was 16 minutes shorter.
Yeah, which goes to show you what like proper storytelling can really immerse you into it and make it feel like time is flying, really.
Cornette, take note.
It was great here. It was just fantastic. Now, mind you, Cornette is a little bit correct on the Young Bucks in a way. Matt Jackson with the bad back, selling it hard, but like kicking out of just shit that it's like, I'm sorry, I have a bad lower back. I have injured it before. It is more or less chronic. I am not kicking out of that.
Yeah, and then there's stuff that I watch. He does a fantastic job selling it, because watching him like cringe or whatever from the back injury, kayfabe or not, fucking makes my back ache.
Yeah, it does. The basic story of the match is there was reluctance on Kenny's part to actually fight the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
He didn't really want to do it. He would generally let Ibushi do a lot of the work. But if the Young Bucks started fucking with Ibushi, like I gotta back my boy. And
but there was also the moment where Ibushi had targeted Matt's back pretty heavily and was just stomping the shit out of him. And Omega got in the ring, like, no, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like, just leave that part alone, please.
Particularly Matt being the more heelish of the two Bucks in this one, because he wanted Kenny. Like, he was the one that brought the table out and wanted to put Kenny through the table. And Nick had to convince him not to do it.
And then Nick did it anyway.
Yeah, and then Nick ended up being the one to put it through the table.
Like, give her! I'm going to kill this motherfucker! You go to town in the ring!
But yeah, I'm not even really going to talk a ton about spots here, because there were so many, and they were so good. I will talk about maybe like 3 or 4 of my personal favorites. All right, so Omega goes to do the Terminator dive, which had previously been teased by Cody Rhodes earlier in the evening,
and well sold by Brandy Rhodes, I might add.
Yes, Brandy Rhodes going da da da. Although sometimes Brandy Rhodes doesn't seem to know what she wants to do with herself on the outside of the ring.
That's correct.
But hey, I'm fine with it. But Nick intercepts him with a big super kick. That was fantastic. Just some great tandem work all around. Keeping in theme with the prior match, I think Ibushi at one point got knocked loopy because he made a couple of Ibushi's a really good wrestler, fantastic wrestler, generally botch free. Not that he so much botched anything, but there was some slop here. There was some sloppiness. There was the Golden Lovers did their drop the guy in the corner and then do the shooting star press and double moonsault combo that they like to do. Mm-hmm. And Coda didn't really get out of Kenny's way, and Kenny wound up just smashing his face on Coda's shoulder.
Enjoyable.
And additionally, Coda missed. They did the cross slash thing, and Kenny hit his fine, and Coda missed his. Which at first I was thinking maybe like a storyline thing. They're still trying to get in their sync or whatever. But then he just did like this headlock takeover on Matt Jackson, and Matt just kind of stood there as if to say, You missed. So, yeah, much like Jay White, I kind of wonder if Ibushi may have been slightly concussed during some of this match.
I can never tell because he always looks vaguely concussed all the time.
A little bit, I guess.
Just has that kind of expression, like he's like kind of blissed out.
A little bit. You would not be wrong in saying that. Like we said, Nick Jackson put Kenny through a table, and that was not the only table that was going to get broken in this match because we had to get a proper Japanese table, sir. A proper Japanese table because the first one
they imported that one.
The first one was a little American Japanese, like it wasn't no WWE table, but it was no Japanese table. But then what exactly was the spot here? Because I have it in my notes. Yeah, here we are. They go. The Young Bucks are going for the Indie Taker on Kenny Omega, and Kota catches Nick Jackson and plummets him powerbomb style through the table, the announce table, and that thing didn't have a lot of give to it.
No, did not break in the middle.
Indeed,
a little off center.
Let's see here. What else really needs to be said? Okay. My personal New Japan moment of the night in terms of the false finishes was Matt getting hit with a gut wrench power bomb and the Indie Taker and kicking out with the bad back. Not great.
But yeah, you and I were discussing that, and you are internet world famous about your hatred for the constant the outlandish false finishes and the amount of them. But we as we were talking about last night, they never took a step back. That's usually my problem when stuff like that happens. When they, I'm going to hit you with 6 finishers and you're going to kick out, and then the next false finish is going to be like one mediocre move and a roll up, and then that's the next false finish, and then they're going to do 7 finishers through a table while on fire, and you're going to kick out from that
flaming
one.
Table. What is this? CZW?
Could be. So they at no point did this ever take a step backwards, and at no point did the next false finish kind of underwhelm.
That is true.
It always ramped up to something else.
Yeah, the false finishes were reaching a definite crescendo at the end. So, that regard, very well done. Kenny at one point has Matt more or less at his mercy, and he wants to V-trigger him. He hits like 1, 2 V-triggers. He's going for the third, and he hesitates, and that's when Matt comes roaring back with a great big comeback.
Metal!
In the end, the eventual finish was Matt gets hit with the one-winged angel by Omega after being hit with the V-trigger. And after Kota is like, you have to do this. And he does. Nick Jackson makes the big save, huge false finish, which I'm fine with because Nick Jackson broke it up. Matt didn't kick out.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick's looking at him like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And then he just goes like one last stand flurry against Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. But they eventually dispose of him. They golden trigger for the 3 and the wins. By the way, the one-winged angel that did get hit, Matt Jackson's just yelling on Kenny's shoulders, do it! Just do it!
Yeah, Kenny had him and then let go of the arm around the head, and Matt's like, no, do it, motherfucker, do it! And he like grabbed Kenny's hand, excuse me, and put it back over his head, and then Kenny's like, fuck, fine.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
Fantastic match. Like I said, I had some problems with the false finishes, but I would give this 4.5, maybe even 4 3/4. It was a fantastic match.
Yeah, it was quite good. This was unquestionably the main event of the evening. They went for all of it, and they did a great job. After the match, Omega and Nick hugged it out, but Matt refused. So there's still stuff. I guess we'll find out in Being the Elite, or maybe it's Sakura Genesis this weekend.
Yeah, well, before that, Cody came out to berate the Young Bucks about losing, and he even decked Nick Jackson. And that's when Kenny came back to be like, what the fuck are you doing? And Cody ran off. So, yeah, Cody in full psycho coward heel mode, which I'm fine with, actually. I'm enjoying it. And Kenny sends us home happy with a promo. But a very melancholy promo. Very different Kenny Omega.
Someone should have asked Kenneth what the frequency was.
So yeah, good show. The last two matches were very good. Up until that, it had been underwhelming. Perhaps that's because I had too high of expectations.
Yeah, well, I mean, last year was like they did 2 days worth of stuff, and it was all really damn good. This year, they only did one show. I wasn't underwhelmed. It just wasn't kind of what I'm used to. Not quite on the level of what I'm used to seeing. I don't know if that's a bunch of jet lag because, you know, people were just in Japan and now they're here in North America. But if that had something to do with it, that would explain a few things.
Yeah. So definitely still check out the show at the very least for the two last matches, which were great. And Marty Scurll, Cody Rhodes versus God, also very good, very storytelling advancing, and that's about all I have to say about the show.
Yeah, I don't have anything really else to add. Looking forward to more. As with everything New Japan, I want their storylines to.
Oh, and Liger Ospreay was fantastic.
As well. Absolutely. But yeah, as with anything New Japan, with their storylines, they slow play the shit out of things. So we're not probably going to see an end or an answer to the Bullet Club question probably until like after the World Tag League, probably
2019.
Maybe. Well, maybe they're gonna have definitely a match at All In between Kenny and Cody, but that's gonna be in September, and then I think there's gonna be probably more shenanigans for another month or two, probably 2, and then before Wrestle Kingdom, we'll probably have some sort of culmination, although that might also happen at Wrestle Kingdom.
I would assume something will happen at Wrestle Kingdom as a somewhat of a culmination of this. You know what? I like the slow play of this though. It's a complex storyline. And
yeah, but I want to know the answer now.
Well, that's because you have the attention span of a 2-year-old.
That's not true. That's just because the story's so goddamn good.
Anyways, until next time, we'll be back this weekend with our WWE review video. And until then, get off Byron's lawn.
Agreed.